Uh, we're streaming live Tuesdays, Inspirational Tuesdays with Rabbi Zitron, our only one and only most favorite educator. And tonight's topic is oral law, one of the most important topics there is. Thank you very much, Rabbi Zitron.
Okay, thank you. We're learning tonight Le'ilu Nishmat Sarah Selfit Bat Malkil. So, before we actually get onto the topic at hand, because of all the beautiful things that we heard about your mother, Shmuel, first of all, thank you, Shmuel, for sponsoring tonight's beautiful spread that we have over here. There are a few things that came into my mind that I want to speak about before anything that I actually prepared, and that's what you and your dear friend, the third cousin from your mother, mentioned that did bring some ideas. Joseph. So what Yosef and Shmuel mentioned about this holy woman who passed away about 12 years ago. The first thing is, when we look at people that pass away, and this is so important, this is people really don't understand it. People have a very, very hard time. Why? Because it's a disconnect. All of a sudden, the person's not here anymore, and they used to be over here, and you can't see them, you can't talk to them, you can't have any interaction with them, so it feels like they're gone. And that's why in the American culture, in the American society, they say it's gone, rest in peace. They have all these terminology, which according to the Torah is 100% incorrect. What does it mean, rest in peace? What does it mean that they're gone? It's just the opposite. It says now is when they begin living. They begin living after they finish this world. This world is a very, very temporary world. We look at the world, maximum you get 120. And B'ezrat Hashem, may everybody here will all get to 120.
Amen.
But when we think about 120 years, what is 120 years compared to 1,000 years? What is 120 years compared to 1,000,000 years?
Nothing.
What is 120 years compared to 1,000,000,000 years? It's absolutely nothing. It's nothing. It's like a dot on a piece of paper. But yet, the Western society, the culture that we live on, we say, okay, that's it, it's finished and they're done. It's just the opposite. This is where life begins. Life begins after you finish. But there's one very, very, very important caveat that we have to understand. And that is, when a person passes away, that's it. Anything that they've done in this world, the book is closed. The book is closed. Whatever they did in this world, all the good that they do, they're going to get rewarded for it. All the bad, they're also going to get punished for it. But there's no more, okay, let me do something now. That's it. The book is closed. It's game over. Now, what's important to understand is what happens when you have a child. When you have a child and you send the child to yeshiva, and you send the child to go learning, and you bring up the child through Torah, mitzvot, to masim tovim, you let them do all these good things. Whose credit does that go to? It goes to the credit of the parent. It goes to, because the parent has to pay money. Yeshiva is not so cheap. It has to pay a lot of money for that. They go and they educate them. They help them go and guide them to the direct path. That is, the parent gets reward now every single year. This is it Bo Bayom? Today is the Yotzeit, right?
Yeah.
So today you should know that your mother is getting judged. Every year on the Yotzeit she gets judged. She gets judged. But what does she get judged on? What she left in this world. What she left in this world. They look at the children. They look at the grandchildren. They look at all the friends and family. What effect did she have on them? Did she get them to help them and come closer to Judaism? Get them and come closer to Torah and mitzvot? And if they did, then she gets all the reward. And it doesn't just stop there. Everything that she does as a continuation and she gets reward for that. That's something unbelievable. This is residual income that she's receiving. That is, if somebody goes and helps somebody else, helps another Jew, and because of that you're helping another Jew come maybe closer to Judaism. Maybe you get somebody to convince them to start keeping Shabbat. Maybe you convince somebody to start learning a Shiur Torah. Maybe, and look at this, today we have, Baruch Hashem, a larger crowd than we would have had on our regular Tuesdays. Right? Regular Tuesdays we get about 1,000. So today we got a little bit less under, a little bit more than 1,000, Baruch Hashem. But when we think about it, something unbelievable. You realize over here that everybody over here that's learning, and whose merit is it we're learning for? And merit for this woman. And merit for this woman, and merit for, we have here over here, we don't get this often, a live Facebook, I don't know what's called, a feed stream. That, so anybody who's listening to this also gets in the merit of this woman. But I'll tell you even more than that. Now what happens if we're saying this class? It's already online as we speak. Somebody else who's not even in here is listening to the class. Somebody else hears the class, decides to change their life maybe a little bit. Whose merit does that go according to? Again, your mother. So it's something very, very fascinating when you think about it. Life doesn't end after 120.
Of course.
You have the ability, and if you're smart, what does a smart businessman do? A smart businessman, what he does is that he creates for himself investments. Now, somebody who's smart doesn't want to spend all his time working. He wants to make his money work for him. Now, what does he do? So he makes smart investments, helps the money make the money for him. He sits on the golf course, he sits by the pool, he sits in the Bet Midrash, depending on where you're coming from, right? And you're going, and you're getting your money. There are people that make $50,000 a week, and they don't even have to go into the office.
I'm sorry. You're 100% right. But his mom and my mom and that generation, they did everything. They put their heart, not because of rewards.
That's true.
But
It says in Pirkei Avot, it says that you should serve God, not that you get reward. You should
That's
serve
right.
God for the right purpose.
What you saying?
But when we look at something here, when we look at somebody who is a smart investor, somebody who wants to go and invest his money wisely, he knows how to make sure that his money makes more money. If you want to make sure you invest, you could also invest in the spiritual world. How do you invest to make sure that after 120, when I'm not in this world anymore, how do I know that I'm still going to be making spiritual money? How do I know that I'm going to still be making reward? And the answer is depending what you do now. Now, you can invest, and I'll tell you a secret. I'll tell you a secret. I know, right? I'll tell you a secret. That you don't need money to invest for a spiritual world. You don't need money. You don't need money. You don't need financial security to go and invest it for the next world. You do need a few things. You need a drive that you want to do the right thing. You want to go. I'll tell you a simple thing. You get somebody to come to a Torah class. You send somebody a Torah class. You bring somebody home for a Shabbat meal and tell them, look at this beautiful meal that we have over here. And because of that, something switches in his mind or switches in her mind. And they start changing themselves. Whose reward is that? And that's you. And that's not only you for now. That's after 120. Let's say he becomes religious or she becomes religious. Their children are now the religious. Their children are now religious. And that goes for generations and generations and generations. And who is to thank? And who gets all the reward? The person that went and helped and guided them to the right path and brought them closer to Judaism, closer to the Torah. Now when we think about this is why the Zohar says something very, very fascinating. If somebody would know the reward, the power, the amount that somebody gets when they make somebody else religious, they will do that for their entire life. They will chase 70 years after a person to bring a person back to Judaism, if they would even realize and even fathom the reward. We're looking at today's day and age. Today's day and age, we have a very, very big problem. A lot of Jews are not religious. Now you go about a few thousand years ago, everybody was religious. You can't, there's nobody, nobody was not religious. Everybody was religious. But today, we have a very, very big problem, unfortunately. That not everybody, we have a lot of people that are not following the ways of the Torah. But a smart businessman knows how to make money even in a bad economy. And if you look at what's going on, he says, yeah, there's a lot of people. But look at all the potential that you have. The opportunities that you each have in this room is to go and bring people back to Judaism is something that no one else had in the history of the Judaism. Why? Because we have something that we said before. I was speaking to Rabbi Chaim. Facebook is a curse or a blessing. Instagram is a curse or a blessing. Right? It depends what you use it for. Majority of the time, a curse. And when I say majority of the time, I say 99.9% of the time. This is the 1%. This is the 1% that it's being used for actually something good. Majority is all nonsense, it's all shtuyot, and it's all the satan. But you have the ability to use something. Do you realize this is something so unbelievable? You have the ability to send somebody a Torah class in Azerbaijan, where there's in a place where there's no shul, there's no Bet HaKnesset, there's no Torah classes, but they're able to sit in a mountain somewhere, as long as they have Wi-Fi, of course. Right? This is the Wi-Fi nowadays is replacing the Shekhinah La'avdil. Right? You have Wi-Fi, that's all you need. But as long as they have internet access, they can get access to all the Torah classes. You think about that? You know something? I'll tell you something personally. I give a class, I post it online. I get emails from all over the world. I get emails from places I didn't even think have internet. That's where I get emails from. And not just from one place, from all the people that I don't even realize speak English. It goes throughout the entire world. You realize what power you have. You don't even have to speak Torah. All you do is share something. Is send something, here, listen to this. And you never know. Maybe they're going to get hooked on it. Maybe they're going to go and get addicted to it. And they're going to, because once you learn Torah, you get addicted to it. You can't leave it.
Definitely.
Once you learn a little bit, come on, it's awesome. It's amazing. You can't leave it. So, but you think about the power that you have, the investment opportunity that you have. People go, what is it called? Financial advisors. Financial advisors. Someone made a lot of money, wants to go invest in money, so you go, you meet with a financial advisor. What am I supposed to do? You put a 401k, you put in the Roth, you invest in here, you invest in real estate, invest in all this. they should make something else. A spiritual advisor. A spiritual investment advisor. Do this is going to get you this type of reward. Do this is going to get you this type of reward. Donate your money to this cause, this is going to give you this type of reward. You think about it, we have an opportunity over here, and whoever doesn't capitalize on this opportunity is missing out big. You know how they say, like when Facebook came out, be like, oh, I should have invested in Facebook. Oh, and they say when Apple first came out, I should have invested in Apple. When Exxon, when they have all these big companies, and they say, oh, I should have invested in this. I should have invested in this. Had I invested $1,000, what did they say? What's that Bitcoin? The fake money, right?
That's true.
You have this. You know what people say? It says, I knew somebody who had who put $1,000 in Bitcoin like right when it came out. Maybe more, maybe less. But he said if he wouldn't have cashed out the money, he would have been able to retire it already. You think about that. So imagine you have a time machine, and you could go back in time. What would you invest in? You would invest in things that would make money. I'm giving you today a secret that you don't need a time machine. I am telling you what you need to invest in. Financially, I'm not talking about financially, I'm talking about spiritually. What you could invest in spiritually, you could achieve tremendous amount of rewards. Now, and I'll tell you a secret also. 90% of the people that hear this are not going to do anything about it. The same way that you have 90% of people, when a smart investor goes and gathers around a bunch of wealthy people and he says, listen, this is a good investment, make it. 90% of the people are not going to do it. I'm not sure, I got to go golfing, I got to go on my yacht, they push it off, and they don't do anything. 10% of the people, they capitalize on it. Those people that capitalize it are the ones that are going to make tremendous amount of money. You have an option. You could be part of the 90% that says, oh, that's very nice. Yeah, I could make so much reward, so much. I can make so many people religious. And hypothetically, you think about it, you start dreaming about it, and that's it. And then it stays at that. Or you could be that 10% that goes and capitalizes on that. Goes and capitalizes and brings people back closer to Judaism. Helps spread the Torah. And the reward that you're going to get, you're going to be a spiritual multi-billionaire. You don't even have to worry. Like it's something like every single year. After 120, more reward and more reward and more reward. It's something so unbelievable. Something that we can't even comprehend the value that we have. The opportunity that we have today is something that is unheard of. It's something, and I can't, and I'll tell you even more. Like 15 years ago, before the internet blew up. So you had tapes that came out of lectures. How do you get someone to speak to them? Or you had radio maybe. You go and you hand out tapes, you hand out CDs. CDs cost money. Tapes cost money. They have all these things cost money. Now, you could do everything for free. And did you ever stop for a second? And this is a very interesting thing. Why did God do that? Why is it so easy right now to spread Torah to the entire world? It was very difficult. Before tapes came out, the only people that heard the Torah class are the people in the room. Nobody else. Now we have cameras going on over here. You have, what's even more mind-boggling, people don't even realize it, you could be sitting 10,000 miles away and you could be, hearing what I say, seeing what I say on Facebook Live or whatever, YouTube Live, and all those things that you have the ability. Things that we did not experience in the history of humanity. Things that we never had before. Why is God doing it now? Why? And if you think about it, it should have been done 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago. The speakers that we had 1,000 years ago can't compare to anybody that's, now. I know, I wouldn't be even able to get into probably the feet of a place of a student of the rabbi that was 1,000 years ago. And now I'm able to go and I'm able to speak. You think about what it was compared to what we have 1,000 years ago, and yet something very interesting. We're able to speak and reach more people than anybody else ever had. You ever think about that? You even think, let's say Rabbi Akiva had 24,000 students. 24,000 students, that's a lot of students. There are rabbis that are able to go and reach more than that nowadays. 24,000 students. There are people that are able to go and they're able to give a class and more than 24,000 people listen to it. You know what that is? You can't even fit that amount of people in the and you have people nowadays. Yeah, you have people nowadays that are able to speak, and you have so much work. You ever think about why? Why nowadays is it happening? And I'll give you the answer, but before I give you the answer, I have to tell you something else. And this is something, recently I've, the rabbis in general get to hear bad news, not the good news. No one ever calls up a rabbi, it's amazing, I just want to tell you, I won the $15 billion lottery, I won this and this. Only the bad news, unfortunately, the bad news is what we hear.
Like a doctor.
Like a doctor, exactly, yeah. No one calls a doctor, hey doc, I just want to say I'm extremely healthy, thank you so much. But when you look at the problems, unfortunately, that we have nowadays, and I'm not talking only medical, emotional, physical, You have interpersonal relationship, the amount of divorce that we have nowadays, the amount of problems that we have nowadays. You have young people passing away like this. Passing away like this. A woman, this week. My wife we knew her very well. 29 years old, had 3 kids, passed away. This Sunday. It was a funeral. You have, you have all these things. You have all these things. You know, I have one of my wife's closest friend. You guys, we all knew we were praying for her. Also 28 years old. No, died in complication in childbirth. 3 kids. I know the husband very well, very well. Sweet family. You have these cases nowadays. So when you think about it, nothing that we had before. People are coming in. Drug overdose. Could we even begin to even speak about that? What the problems that are going in over here? Now, what's going on? Car accidents, things that we never had before. You never had a horse accident, there's a head-on collision with 2 horses because the horses were drinking. You never had this type of problems before. Today we're coming with problems that we never had before. And it's something very interesting to think about it. Why? If you just accept reality as it is, you listen to the news and be like, oh, that's unfortunate, you miss the whole point of it. You have to think about it. You have to think a very important question in your life. And this question should come up daily. And that question is one word. And that word is why. Why is this happening? Why? Why are we losing so many young kids? Why do we have so many marital problems? Why? And if you go and you start blaming on God, you lost the entire thing. And I speak to people like that. You should know I speak to people and they say, it's God's fault. This is what. I'm like, stop blaming God for your problems. Take responsibility for your actions. You're doing drugs, then that's your problem. Stop blaming it on God. Oh, you are in a situation? That's another story. Everyone has their own tests, and we can't judge anybody for any of the tests that they have, that they lived in. But do not blame God for your issues and your problems. And when we think about it, why so many problems?
We cannot blame God for any issues. We cannot.
We can't. No. But when we think about it, what is going on? Stop for a second and think. What is going on with this world? And here's my personal answer that I really feel. In the time before Mashiach, a lot of things have to happen. A lot of things have to happen. And we see things are happening now faster than ever in humanity. Instant gratification is what we deal with right now. If somebody has a phone and it freezes, God forbid, for a split second, or the Wi-Fi is off for a split second, blood pressure through the roof, anger fit, what's going on with this? I'm like, you have a computer in your hand. 30 years ago, this size, what you need to do now would take larger than a whole room. Is that you have this in your hand, you don't have to have it plugged in. You're connected everywhere, and we complain. What is going on? Before Mashiach comes, things have to get done. There is a certain period of time where that's it. The time is end, and Mashiach has to come. So what God is doing is everything is sped up. Everything is on fast forward. Maybe that's why I have to speak so fast. I don't know. All right. So God is speeding everything up. Technology faster than you ever had before. People are born. People are dying. People are this. People are completing their missions. They have to start again. They have to do this. Things are happening like would never happen before. And the same idea when we look at the technological side of what you can do spirituality. You have the ability, and I'll tell you nowadays, the amount of people that are coming back to Judaism is unbelievable. Baruch Hashem, can yirbu, it can keep on going more and more. But you think about it, it says, well, how do these people get to it? I have people how do they know that they're Jewish? They started researching, they found a rabbi on YouTube, on Torah Anytime, they found this, they found that, they finally end up getting into it, and that's how they got, they found into Judaism. So, by the way, I don't think we're getting to the topic at hand today. I was going to give you a little heads up. But it's something very, very interesting. You have all these things that are happening now, and you have the ability to do so much. Why? Because so much has to get done right now. And I'll tell you something else. There are people that are going to become religious. They are. And Baruch Hashem, it's going to keep on growing.
Amen, amen.
But the question is, are you going to be the investor? Are you going to be the one that's going to help them? Or are you going to sit down and somebody else is going to wake up and say, you know what, I'm going to capitalize on this moment. I'm going to go and grab this moment. I'm going to go and make sure that this person becomes religious. You have the ability. People are thirsty for Torah now. People are thirsty. You know how many converts we're having now? Oh Hashem, I mean, I'm dealing with, with the amount of converts that just me, myself, I'm dealing. You have other rabbis that are dealing with 10 times more converts than the amount that I'm dealing with. You have the amount of people. How all of a sudden converts are coming to Judaism? Why all of a sudden it's blowing up? We have the ability. They're going and they learn and they go online and they're listening to Torah classes and they listen to all these things.
Coming.
100%. You have people that are going, and how do they find? And I'll tell you like this: if this person is going to listen, he's going to know I'm talking about him. I hope he doesn't mind. I'm not going to mention his name. How did he find me? How did he find me online? He said he searched Rabbi versus Islam or Rabbi versus the Quran. Chas v'shalom. I came up. Chas v'shalom. I came up, and he started listening to it. And before that, he started listening. People are starting to ask questions. If Christianity, Islam, all these religions, does it make sense? And they start investigating. They are able to investigate like they were never able to investigate beforehand. You realize that we have the amount of Torah that you have online amongst the 99.9% of garbage that you have online. The last place you should go to learn Torah is online. But if that's the only place that you have, then you're the 0.01%.
But you can see a lot of reforms there.
And I'll tell you like this. That's a very good point. When you're researching on Torah online, you have to be very, very careful because Reform and Conservative has a very, very large majority of things going on online. And if you don't know what you're looking at, you're gonna fall.
Actually, reforms it's not a Jew. That's no. Hold on. They're a Rav. You don't understand. Hashem try. What actually learn and Torah Mishnah. When Hashem asked Moshe Rabbeinu, why take these people? Why take your people now? He said about the Jews, my people. But they are your people. Because he was very nice man, gentleman, as we say right now, gentleman show off. Hashem doesn't want to take those guys out there. You see what's happened?
And
you brought us to that headache to us.
You should know a big problem before the Mashiach comes is going to be from the Erev Rav. They're going to be a big problem from the Erev Rav. But I'll tell you one thing, we don't have to worry so much about Reform and Conservative because they're dying out. Why are they dying out? Because they're marrying all the non-Jews.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be Jewish anymore. It's sad. It's very sad. Yeah.
I was recently in Kiev in the synagogue. And was about a person with big beard. And he says no matter what kind of Jew is he, probably his son or grandson will become a righteous.
Let's hope so.
For example, how to...
I'll tell you like this. What you're saying is true.
Trotsky. He killed lots of people. He actually made Soviet Union. He created...
Of course. Yeah.
He was biggest maximum.
No, for Jews was good.
But his grandson become America Hana supporter.
There are Nazi members. There are Nazi members that their children or grandchildren became Jews.
I know that.
I'll tell you a story that reminded me. There was a Nazi fellow. He was an SS officer, and he, unfortunately did what SS officers do, and that is not being very nice to Jewish people or their lives.
You're too soft.
His daughter, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember the story correctly, his daughter went and she when she heard and found out everything that they actually did, she left and she started saying, what are the Jewish people? Why are the Nazis so against the Jewish people? She started studying Judaism, and guess what? She was so infatuated. She fell so much in love in Judaism. She ended up converting. She ended up converting to Judaism. This woman. Yeah. She moved to Israel. She married an Orthodox Jew.
She has to be stoned like all those Jews.
No. She converted.
I don't trust.
And I'll tell you even more. She goes and she had three. No, you should know. A righteous convert is part of the Jewish nation 100%.
I know. We have to respect the convert.
And we should respect them more than
100%. They are respected and they are considered very, very holy.
They respect them so much. Oh my God.
A Jew is also supposed to be respected so much. Anyways, this woman goes. She marries she goes and marries somebody from Israel. She raises 3 children from Israel. She cut off all ties from her father, the Nazi. She says, "I have nothing to do with you." I don't get a second. Let me say. She calls. She gets a phone call years later, from her father's lawyer, attorney, whatever. He says, "Listen, your father's dying." She hadn't spoken to her father in years, and she said, and they told her, it says, "Your father wants to speak to you." She said, "Speak to him. He's a Nazi. This is what he killed my people." I said, "Listen, if father's dying, okay, fine. Let me go visit them." And he says she went to visit him. She brought her 3 children. So 3 blue eyes, blonde haired children came to visit the father.
Right?
Yeah, exactly like you. Me to you. If you had blue, eyes and blonde hair, and you were a child. So She brings them over. The father looks, at them, and looks at her. Tears are coming to start in your eyes, and he says, I want to tell you why you have 3 children. And he goes and he says, when I was an SS officer, I broke into a house, and what we do, we look for Jews, and we find Jews, we take them out, and we kill them. And I broke into one house, and I saw 3 Jewish boys that were hiding, in a certain room over there. And my first thought was, take them out and shoot them and kill them. But then I felt a little pity. I felt a little pity for those boys. And I told the boys, go run, go hide. I'm going to make sure no one comes in there. He goes out of the house. He says, this house is checked. There's no Jews. And he goes and he says, that's why you have three boys right now. He says, if I would have said 5 boys, you would have had 5 children. He says, this is a Nazi. This is what a Nazi, or Yimach Shemal. This is what he says. Where he even saw the actions that he did, he was able to see, the fruits that saved 3 children, got 3 children, and as a grandchild. But anyway, you had a question?
Forget about
Okay, no problem. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something very, going back to the topic that we're speaking about. You have the ability nowadays to do something that you have never had before. It's something that's so crazy, so unbelievable, that you have to capitalize it. There are people that are not Jewish even, that are doing more kiruv than Jewish people.
You're right.
I know them. There are people that I know that they're going to such a high place in heaven, and they're not even Jewish.
I interrupt for a second. One black lady, she saw me and said, are you Jewish? I was a kippah. I said, what do you think? She said, I love Jewish. She said, I love the Jew.
She was probably 1 out of 1,000.
I said, thank you. That's it.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm driver car service. Every time they go to East New York. And say Utica, I think so, it's, I don't know, some place, or I don't know, Jewish or woman and man, but it's, I don't know, together. And Jew don't have together, right?
No, זה שואל הוא כן,
No, it's or the sure, I don't know, synagogue, or the same synagogue. Yeah. All the people go to say skipper. Black people.
I'm confused. I don't know what's going on here.
No, you don't take a point on me. I tell you about what people. It's a woman, man. It's maybe it's I don't know this. People go together in synagogue in one place, but woman and men separate, right?
Yes.
Always together. What is?
Always separate. Women and men are separate.
But always together. But keep everything the same Jew.
Yeah.
What is the? I don't understand.
I don't understand the question.
There's a probably reform for women and men.
Oh, they're in the synagogue together?
Yeah.
Those are usually reform or conservative. Yeah.
No, my husband and wife.
What?
My husband and wife.
No, he's saying in the synagogue they sit
No, he
together.
doesn't say. He told in
Yeah,
our
it
park.
wasn't. It was like a sleep.
Oh. Okay. So, all right. Anyways, so moving on to what.
Rabbi, one question.
Yeah.
Interrupt.
No, go ahead.
But I spoke with one, Moroccan guy. He came from Israel. I told him, Achi, what's happening? We came here this. He said, if we live by Torah, it's going to be a beautiful life. I told him. He told me, listen, if we live by Torah, we'll never end up with a war over there, he said. You see that a lot of, among the Sephardim, there's a mentality like another people. But we have a different mentality. We grew up with resistance, okay? Don't give up. The people give up all Israel. I'm surprised. They're surprised.
Why do you think people are so depressed and they commit suicide nowadays? It's all giving up. It's all giving up. Why? Because we're in a very weak generation. And you think about it, and maybe we'll speak a little bit about this. Why is depression and anxiety so widespread nowadays? You go to your grandparents. Said, were you depressed? You didn't have time to be depressed. You got to milk the cow at 5 a.m, and then we plow the field for that. Who has time to be depressed? By the time you're able to even start thinking, you're tired. You fall asleep.
Yeah.
You don't even have a chance to think about it. But now, what do you think? Why do so many people depressed? Besides the time, there's something more. We'll go back to the original curse, not of Adam and Chava, of Facebook and Instagram.
There you go.
What happened with that? What does the social media do to people? Social media, you're going over there. You're working your job, you're making $50,000 a year. You're making $60,000 a year. You go over here, you see somebody just bought a Lamborghini. And be like, if I would have to save for 20 lifetimes in order to just buy that.
50,000 a year, buy a Lamborghini.
No. I'm saying, comparing the two things, yeah. You think, you go, and we start comparing what everybody else has to us. And what happens? Start to get depressed. Then you have, the peer pressure going on in the schools. And then you have people that buying, huge mansions next to people that can't even afford to pay rent. And then what's going on? Why can't I do like that? Why can't I be like that? Why can't I be like this? You start thinking all of a sudden you're not able to accomplish a lot. You're not able to do a lot. So now, not only are you depressed, you're not able to become more efficient, more effective. You can't serve God the right way. You can't work the right way. Everything falls down and you end up crashing and you end up falling in. And what is it, and you think about it today, I could say this with confidence. I may be wrong, but I strongly feel this way. The amount of people that we have depressed and anxious today, we never had before in the history of the world. We never had before.
We're more materialized.
We are more materialistic. It's very true. But you look at your parents' generation. You look at your grandparents' generation.
Forget about it.
There were always people that had problems. Always people that were depressed. Always people that had anxiety. But at the level that we have today, I don't know if I could say. I don't know if I could say that it ever was like this. I don't know. I really honestly don't think so. Now, but something so fascinating over here. You have the same tool, the same power that you're able to spread throughout the entire world is also able to bring you down to the lowest levels of Gehinnom in this world. The same tool, the same social media, the same internet that's able to bring you a tremendous amount of reward is able to suck you down to the bottom depths of Gehinnom. You think about that. Why is that? In Kohelet, everything is always on an equal playing field. Everything is, if you have the ability to do something good, you should know you have the ability to do something bad. Somebody that makes a lot of money. With that money, he's able to do a lot of good, but he's also able to do a lot of bad. There are unfortunately a lot of wealthy people that fall very, very bad in big sins. Why? Because they have the money, they have the ability to do it. But at the same time, you have very, very wealthy people that support yeshivot, that support organizations, that literally, give thousands of dollars to organizations like Torah Anytime, to organizations like Bet Yehoshua, to organizations that spread Torah. You have people that will go to a casino with $10,000 and be like, okay, Rabbi, don't worry about it. If I lose it, I lose it. If I win it, I win it. I don't care. Yet when you go and somebody asks him for a donation for a synagogue, 180 or 18 chai. I'll give you chai. Okay, every month I'll give you chai.
No,
do you go put chai on blackjack instead of 10,000? Like, where's all that? Where do we look at it? But it's very interesting. Why? Because this is something that's worth it. This is something that's not. It depends where we put our eyes at. It depends where we think something is going to give us dividends, something is going to give us a profit, and something that is not. And it's unfortunate that today we have a tremendous opportunity. But at the same time, you have the ability to do good. At the same time, the Satan is going to work very, very hard. Definitely. Very hard to suck you down. You have the ability to watch a Shiur Torah from your phone. You have the ability to watch Shiur Torah from a laptop, from a computer, from my understanding, you can even watch it on the TV now. You can even watch it somehow connected to the internet, Roku. I'm not exactly sure of the whole ins and outs. But you're able to watch some, Torah on anything. But at the same phone that you're able to watch Torah, you're able to watch the dirtiest thing on the planet that nobody was ever able to watch in the history of humankind. At the same computer that you're able to watch Torah, you could sit there and watch TV shows for 10 hours a day. You're able to go and you're able to accomplish so much. And you know what? The same way that you have the ability to send somebody a Shiur Torah, you could also send somebody a YouTube link to, cats dressing up as ballerinas.
Don't you mind to take a picture?
So, should we go? So
Rabbi,
the idea. I'm going to speak while you photograph, because it's getting late. So now, the idea that and I want to take this this idea a little bit further. So the idea is that when you have, am I supposed to smile?
No.
Okay. So when you have this power, what? Action shot. Yeah.
I'll show to my daughter. She's Halidim.
yours?
My daughter,
Yeah. So
She was
I'll just
so
smile while I'm talking, just in case if ever a camera comes in. If you give me a flash, and I know what to. Okay. But in any case, so the
Rabbi, סליחה, המחילה. די מתורקה פשוט, טלפון.
never had such a strong reason to.
I won't take picture of my Rabbi.
Alright.
There, there.
Maybe we'll do it afterwards. Maybe we'll do it after the class. He sees an opportunity. He wants to capitalize on it. You don't wait, right?
Yeah,
You don't wait.
man.
You see an opportunity, you go for it. Right?
Mechila.
No, don't worry about it. So the idea is that the same power that you have also the way to fall out. Now, let's go a little bit on a different route. When someone passes away, because that's how we started over here. When someone passes away, not only are they getting reward for everything that they left behind, and they're getting punished for everything that they left behind, but you're able to send them a package. You're able to go. Your mother passes away. You have a friend that passed away. You have a family member that passed away. You could go and send them a package, right? And it's not going to go through UPS, snail mail. It's not going to go through email. It's going to go through spiritual delivery. It's a new company I'm working on. No, I'm just kidding. So it's going to go through spiritual delivery. What is that? How does that work? You go and you do anything, any mitzvah, any learning Torah, leilu nishmat, in memory of this person, in memory of this person. What's happening? That mitzvah that you just did, you get it professionally gift wrapped by angels. Angels take it, they fly up into the other world, and go there and say, hey, listen, you have a present from downstairs. And they're like, oh, what is this? And they open the present, maybe they'll read a little letter. This is from your dear grandson, who loves you very much and cares about you, decided to keep Shabbat on your sake. And be like, wow, that's amazing. They open up the present, what happens? They go to the higher level of Gan Eden. They go into a higher and higher level. However, but the same idea goes also in the opposite. You could also send your parents and your grandparents a package, but this package is sort of wrapped in fire, right? In more fire, and there's fire inside, right? And you go and you say, you go and you do something, and what happens after, that goes up the little package, angels come in, but they're bouncing in it because it's hot, you can't touch it, and they get up into the next world and be like, oh, your son, your grandson, your great grandson just committed a tremendous sin in your marriage, chazak u'ba'ur, chas v'shalom. But the power that you have is not only for you. People think it's my life. It's my life. What do you care what I do with my life? Your life. Since when is your life? It's not only your life, it's your parents' life, it's your great-grandparents' life, all the generations going back, but not only that, also all the generations going forward.
Amen.
Your children, your grandchildren. I speak to suicidal people that want to end their life. I say, you want to end your life is unhappy. Did you ever think for a second, what about your kids that didn't come into the world yet? What about your daughter that didn't come into the world yet? She wants to come into the world. She's your daughter. But you're not going to let that happen because you have problems that you're going through. And again, it's very, very easily said done. It's a very sensitive subject. And it's something that has to be dealt with very, very carefully. But you think about it for a second. And I tell this to people. And they, and it makes them think. It really makes them think. Like, oh, wait, your actions are not only for yourself. People think only me. What's the difference if I cut myself? People go in there and they cut themselves, unfortunately. They go and they hurt themselves. It's a biblical prohibition to hurt yourself. You're not allowed to. Who gives you permission to hurt yourself? Yeah. Just like you're not allowed to hurt your friend, you're not allowed to hurt yourself. Right. And if you hurt yourself, you're hurting your future generation. If you're not going and learning Torah, it's not only affecting you, it's affecting your children. You realize what type of child is going to be brought up into the world for somebody that has been going 3 times a week to Shiur Torah, for somebody that comes once a year on the Yotzai, or somebody that comes once every few months when they feel like it. What are the difference of the child is going to be? You're going to raise your child in the ways of Torah. What are they going to look at it? Yeah, daddy goes on to Shiur Torah once every 6 months. Daddy goes into Shiur Torah whenever, if they even, think about it. But imagine daddy goes to Shiur Torah every single day. Or 3 times a week. They're always going and learning Torah. They're sitting and they're coming with a chavruta in the house. They know, can't bother daddy now. Daddy's learning. You can't do that. Daddy's listening to a Torah class. You're sitting in the car. Instead of listening to, I love you, you love me. Instead of listening to this, maybe listen to a Shiur Torah class. Kids like it. Get a Shiur Torah class. That's for kids. I'll give you a little tip. In Torah, anytime there's a special section for kids. They say stories. They go, and it's very good for the children. You're sitting and you're driving. You're doing a road trip, right? So again, imagine kids love listening to stories. They love it. Yes, you can listen to your music, which is usually created by people that are going straight to the 7th level of Gehenom. And I'm not talking about Jewish music, obviously. I'm talking about the other type of music, what they speak about. And this is what you let your kids listen to. Oh no, it's Rabbi, it's Disney. It's it's whole family. It's fine. I'm like, no, it's not fine. Okay, because what does it speak about? Listen to the words that the children are hearing. You hear what children sing about. Little children. I can't even. Heard a little child rap. A little child was rapping, and it wasn't a poem by Barney. It was something that I'm like, you need to be at least 18 and dead in order to be able to allow it to be listened to that. This is how do you even allow the children to listen to these type of things? It doesn't even. It's funny because people talk. I get this often, and they watch a movie. So they watch a R-rated movie. I said, he says, yeah, but don't worry about it, Rabbi. I'm 17, 18, whatever. I don't know what the age limit is. I'm like, the Torah doesn't say you're not allowed to watch it until you're 17, right? This is whatever the society that creates Gehenom things. I don't know what do they call the rating society. They're the ones who decide to be like, this is appropriate for you. Above 18, you can watch whatever you want. No, the Torah says you're not allowed to. You go and you look at what the world is at, and what we consider okay and what we consider as a problem. And what do we say? No, it's not a problem. I'm allowed to watch this. I'm 14. It's PG-13. It's completely fine to. I'm allowed to watch it. I'm like, 100-year-old man is not allowed to watch that. Forget about a 13 or 14-year-old. But yet you sit over here. You have the ability. You have the ability to do this. And what do people do? They go and they said that this is what they show the children. And what are the children? This is how you raise your children. What is going to. I know. This is how you're going to raise your children. How you raise your children is how they're going to raise their children. And how their children are going to raise their children. What's going to be after 120? What's going to be after 120? So you go up after 120, and you're sitting there, you're getting all your judged, you're sweating, and this, and it's, they're going, and bringing in all the angels, and this, and that, and you go, and all of a sudden, they go on a road trip. I'm not even talking about a far road trip. You go to New Jersey, right? You go and travel to New Jersey, and instead of maybe, giving your kids, and I'm not saying you could let the kids listen to Jewish music, let them listen to it, it's relaxing, by all means. But maybe you put a 5-10 minute little story for the child that maybe they'll be able to understand, and maybe they'll be able to learn a little bit. What a world of a difference. You have people that don't touch Torah. You want to know why they don't touch Torah? The parents never touch Torah. Children see what their parents do, and they follow that. I saw a video today. Somebody sent me a video today, and I shared it because I thought it was very, very important. It was called the Kiddush Club. The Kiddush Club video. This is where you have parents, unfortunately, fathers, that they go, and after Shabbat, they go and they make a few l'chaims. And then they go to somebody else's house and make another few l'chaims. And then they go to another, friend's house and make another few l'chaims. And they're dragging their son along with them. What does the son see? Alcohol is good. Alcohol is good. And what happens? Now you start wondering why 13-year-olds are alcoholics. Why we have 14-year-olds that are addicted, to pills. Why we have 16, and I'm not saying it's not the only reason. It's not the only reason. There's many problems. But what are we showing our children? What are we showing our children? We're showing our children, don't worry about it. Do this, and don't worry about Torah. You ever realize it? You go to a Shabbat table. What do people speak about? They speak about money. They speak about the business. They speak about the vacation. When was the last, I've been to tables where I had to actually go, and I was a guest. That I would be like, okay, I'm saying Dvar Torah now. Because it was ridiculous. No one was, what, you're sitting on Shabbat table, that's what you're speaking about? You're speaking about what's the latest TV show going on? And what is the children listening? That's all that matters. That's all that's important. Who cares about the Torah? Who cares? You know how many people don't even know what this week's parasha is? I'm talking about religious people. Religious people. That they go, let's say I'm about to give a class, let's say in a certain, synagogue, whatever it is. They say, oh, Rabbi, what's this week's parasha? And I'm like, I don't understand. If it was last night, Friday night, I understand the question. This is a Shabbat day, a shiur. You didn't hear what the Baal Koel was. What were you following along? What was going on back then? Since people don't even care. People are there, they're spacing out. What are they spacing out about? What do people daydream about? What is the number one thing people daydream about? Let's speak about meth. What? Come on. What do they daydream about? You're laughing because you know what I'm going to say. Money. They daydream about money. If you're a little bit older, it changes to honor. If you're a little bit younger, it changes about woman. That's usually that thing. It's woman, money, honor. That is the order of life. And you're younger.
Always like that.
Yeah, sometimes we have people that has a full package. They dream of all three things at one time.
Lucky
Woman,
guy.
honor, and money. All of them they want it at one shot.
Lucky guy.
But you have over here, you have people that they don't even, the things that they do, they don't even do. The things that they're supposed to do, they don't even do. And what do you think the children are going to listen to? What do you think you have if you bring, a child to a shiur Torah, and the entire shiur Torah, you're sitting under the table and you're playing Jumpy Frog, or what games are now? I don't know, Diamond, what is that called? What is that game that people that made $1 billion? Candy Crush, thank you. You have your people are playing Candy Crush. So what does the child look at it? He says, yeah, Daddy came to a lecture, but Candy Crush is more important. Why? Because he already waited an hour, and now he's able to play again. He can't miss the opportunity. He already spent $7,000 of my college tuition on this Candy Crush, and that's why he's playing it, because it's more important than anything else. Look at what we're showing our children. Look at it. But what happens if you show your child, you open your house for shiur Torah? You go and you invite people to come to your house to go and listen to a shiur Torah. I get invited to places, to houses, that people open up their houses, and that's where they want a shiur Torah. And that's what the kids are seeing. That's a beautiful thing. Then you have other people that invite to watch a movie. Yeah, we're going to go sit down. I have a special theater in my house in the basement, and we're going to all sit there. I'm going to make popcorn. Don't worry about it. We're going to have beers. We're going to enjoy. So you have one family that's inviting for a movie, and another family that's inviting for a shiur Torah. Who do you think is going to turn out better? Which child do you think is going to turn out better? What do you think that's going to happen? The decisions that you make does not only affect you. It affects your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. Don't be stupid. Don't waste it. Don't think about it that it doesn't matter. It matters very, very, very strongly. Now, when you're going and when you're sending a package to the next world, it's not only sending a package to the next world, you also get part of that reward. Now, everything is measure for measure. Midah keneged midah. That's the way that the world works. You help somebody else will help you. The non-Jews call this karma. Karma is another word for God. But people that don't want to believe in God, so they call it karma. Or they call it the universe. The universe is sending me something. Call it whatever you want. It's God. All right? God is sending you this. God is telling you that. People will try to run very, very far away from the term God. No, I don't believe in God. I believe in the universe. I believe in karma. I believe in that. Whenever I have this, I'm like, do me a favor. Explain that to me. What's karma? No. Karma. So I hear they said karma is a force. That when you put good out, good comes to you. I'm like, interesting. Okay. One question, my dear scientist. I know many people that put out many good didn't get good. How do you answer that? What was the universe doing? Was there not enough good karma? No answer. No, we don't ask questions like that. It's for religion. I'm like, karma is the same thing as a religion. Call it whatever you want. You call it the universe sent me this. This is my soulmate. The universe sent it to me. You hit somebody else is going to hit you. We call it midah keneged midah. When you're doing good for somebody else in the next world, somebody else will do good for you also in this world. Which means after you die, you help somebody else is going to help you. Everything that happens is a merit. Now I'll tell you something very interesting. The fact that every single one of you is sitting in this room over here is not thanks to you. You think, I chose to come today. No. You had a great-grandparent, or a great-great-grandparent, or even a parent that went and cried and wanted their child to become closer to Judaism. Maybe it was a great-grandparent. Back in Azerbaijan, right, when people cared.
No. Not Azerbaijan.
Not a chas v'shalom, right? Nice. So anywhere in the world, doesn't matter. You go over there, you look at the Soviet Union, right? Look what Russia did. Russia broke spirituality. It did. There's so many people that fell from it. But what did you have? You had, listen, people came through, but how many people did we lose? How many people are now coming back to religion? You want to know why? Because their parents cried, and they tried, and they wanted to hold back on to religion, but they couldn't. But now those tears are coming back to you. And they're helping you, and they're bringing you closer back to Judaism. You want to hear something very interesting? When I deal with converts, one of the first things I ask is, do you have any ancestors that are Jewish? Do you have maybe anybody back then that was Jewish? And so many times we find out that they do have some sort of ancestor that was Jewish. And then they intermarried, and then they went over here, but then they had a great ancestor that cried and wanted the child not to marry the non-Jew. They wanted the child to go in the right way, but it didn't go. It didn't work out. Those tears are not for naught. They went for something. They didn't go for the child. They didn't go for the they went for the great-great-grandchild. Which means is that things that you're doing now is going to affect your great-grandchild. Things that you're doing tomorrow is going to affect your child. DNA is not only physical. It's also spiritual. If you have a very hard temptation and you're able to pass it and overcome it, You just created a spiritual DNA that is going to pass over to your child. This is something so unbelievable. We're living in a world that there's so many problems. Did you ever think about it? Maybe I want to try to make sure that my child doesn't have these problems. That my child doesn't have to go through those things. So you know what you should do? Besides guiding your child and bring them to the right path, you fix yourself. You fix yourself. People want to say, I want my child to be a big Talmid Chacham. Big learning a lot of Torah. So become a Talmid Chacham. The child will see you. No, I can't, I'm very busy, I can't learn. Says, who said anything about being busy and Talmid Chacham have to go into, take off one TV show and open up a Gemara. Take off one TV show and maybe open up some halacha book. Open up a chumash. Learn a little bit. You learn a little bit, it's going to go into the child.
That's right.
We're going into nowadays where we have, tremendous amount of ability. And we'll finish off with this. I didn't even need to bring any notes today. Look at that. So, why I spoke about this, I have no idea. Why? I don't know. This is what you started speaking about your mother. You started speaking about your third cousin. This idea came to my mind, and we spoke about it. But this is a very, very important, very, very important idea. And that is that we have to realize that we're here for a certain period of time. And you have the ability to either make it happen, make it work, make it successful, or lose it all. And there are people that go into business, and it's fine. You're allowed to work, and you should make money. But that's all they do. That's all they think about. They can't think about anything else other than work. 24 hours a day, only business. You miss the boat. Yeah, you'll make a lot of money. Yeah, you'll be able to donate a lot of money. But you miss the boat about this world. God didn't send you here to make a lot of money. Because guess what? God could give you that money without you working 24/7. He could give you that money with working 9 to 5. And then learning every night. And then learning every morning. He has the ability to give you everything that you have created, that you have worked so hard for, without creating and working so hard for it. But it depends on what you do in your free time. If you go and every 4 weeks you're in the Bahamas on your yacht, or every day you have off, you're sitting on there and you're watching TV, you're watching movies, you're listening to non-Jewish music, you go to your, you're going to have to work for money. If you go capitalize on the moment, you're able to take the moment you have. And I'm saying every moment you have, which is what lost it. Every moment you have baby steps. Baby steps. Baby steps. Every single day you're going. You don't come to crying loud. We have right, including the world. You have to if you want to come. If I'm saying we could hear what's come and everybody. It doesn't have to be for God. It doesn't mean this. What I could have done. I'm telling you, this is learn to capitalize. Classes. You're able to become a Kirov professional without knowing an ounce of law. I know people about don't be a fool. Take a time. A phone call. Hey, I'm going to class today. You want to join me? That's all it takes in that amount of reward. Any questions?
Actually, I want to know that which I feel myself. All the of the so that I have you know what? I never expected that.
Uh,